Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar, How to Protect Your Clients from Their Own Work-From-Home Employees. This is Mark Winter, VP Sales at Rapid Fire Tools, joined by our Vice President of Development, Win Pham. So, as everybody knows, this is an unprecedented event, and there's been a lot of strain put onto MSPs and has really changed your focus by everything that's going on. So there's a ton of new challenges from a lot of your customers that are now having to work from home. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to turn it over to Win. He's going to talk about a solution using Network Detective to help detect what's going on those home computers, how to find it, what to look for. And that way, when you are enabling home computers to your customers' networks, you can do so feeling good that you've done the right things to secure them. And of course, we'll follow it up with a special offer. Before I turn it over to Win, though, for those of you who are not familiar with Rapid Fire Tools, we're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Our business unit is. We were founded in 1997 by Michael Mattel, former MSP. And gosh, for 12, 13 years now, we've been focusing on tools that IT providers and MSPs worldwide use. And there's 8,000 of our MSPs customers using our stuff. Our core offerings include, of course, Network Detective, which is our flagship product, which we're going to talk about today. But I want to also let you know that we have a product called Compliance Manager. That is a platform that allows MSPs to offer their customers compliance as a service. It supports HIPAA, NIST, GDPR, and also a cyber liability insurance. So if you've got interest in that, be sure to reach out to our team. And also we have CyberHawk, which is an internal threat detection platform that you can use to roll your own cybersecurity services that monitor a network inside the network. A couple of years ago, we announced that we were acquired by Kaseya, so we're proud to be one of the Kaseya family of companies, which includes IT Glue, ID Agent, Kaseya, Unitrends MSP, Spanning, and of course ourselves. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Win, who's going to talk about what's going on today and how you can use our tools to help make the home workers safer for your customers.
Great. Thanks, Mark. And I've shifted focus over to my screen, and we're going to talk about the shifting focus for managed service providers. So right now, all of you are probably more than ever familiar that times are changing, and there's a lot of demand being asked of you. The number one thing that we've kind of polled our customers, and we are hearing from them, is that dealing with the remote workforce is the number one concern right now. There's really no time for anything else. But in this kind of times, MSPs, you need to show value, and you have to continue making money in this new reality. You have to stay in business for yourself, for your employees. We found that to surveying our customers, that a lot of you are setting up remote desktoping solutions right now, VPN solutions, enabling remote applications, trying to figure out how to get these users across the company that we're all in one centralized office. The challenges that you kind of face right now are provisioning and licensing remote applications. So remote connectivity is kind of like one of the other things that you have to kind of set up behind the scenes, whether it's VPN, remote desktop, some kind of virtual desktop initiatives, all these kind of things that you're trying to think of how to get at-home workers to be productive. Typically, you also have to deal with uncontrolled home environments. There probably wasn't time for everyone to get a corporate laptop, get it provisioned, get everything installed properly. And one of the other problems that you're dealing with is having to deal with supporting these home users. They can't connect. They need tech support for their home computers now. They're having internet issues, things that you wouldn't have a problem with typically when they're all in the office. So we believe that provisioning and licensing of remote applications, whether they're using Salesforce, QuickBooks, any kind of proprietary applications, those tend to actually be things that you can resolve pretty quickly. We also see that having remote connectivity set up is something that a lot of MSPs have well in their hand. They know how to set up VPNs. They know how to set up these solutions to get the workers working. There's a lot of work to get done to make this happen. But over these last couple of weeks, we think that a lot of that work has already been accomplished. What is kind of difficult is dealing with these uncontrolled home environments and supporting the home users, especially the ones that can't connect, of course. You probably dealt with a lot of these already, tech support issues on these home computers. And especially now you're dealing with lots of different internet providers and lots of different kind of situations that you're just dealing with something that is completely out of your control. So one of the things that we have that you can use Network Detective for, which is our IT assessment product, which works by running a data collector and then being able to generate reports off of those data collections. It's quick, it's easy, it's non-intrusive, and you get what you need. There's two options to be able to run our data collections. One is you can remote in and run it yourself. So basically you do a shared session with your customer, the employee, and you remote in, you launch the data collector, and you run it, you bring it back and generate reports. The other option is that you can have the employees self-service themselves. Now, the options are kind of tailored toward the type of environments that you're dealing with. So here's what you'll learn. One of the reports that we encourage you to run is a Consolidated Security Report Card. The Consolidated Security Report Card basically takes all the computers, has major categories like antivirus, anti-spyware, firewalls, patches, ports, system aging, operating system support, and does a quick assessment and gives you a letter grade. One of the things that you can do is basically have a minimum standard for what you're going to allow to connect to your environment. You could say, for instance, a B is acceptable or A is acceptable, but anything below, I want to have an IT person definitely investigate. And we definitely don't want anyone that's an F connecting to our network until we've had a chance to remediate those kind of issues. The next report that is actually kind of interesting is the Asset Detail Report. This lets you know what kind of operating systems, the manufacturer of the machines, service tags if available, the type of processor, all the kind of information like memory, disk, and utilization, and what kind of physical drives they're using inside their machine to see if they are the type of computers that would be adequate for the type of applications that they're trying to run, and so that you can get ahead of any kind of problems that have to do with the machinery itself. The asset detail information also includes IP config information for the machine, one of the more useful things when dealing with troubleshooting or troubleshooting network issues on an unknown machine, to basically see where their IP address is, what their gateway is, so that once you get in, you're able to deal with all these different environments and what kind of, where their routers are, what type of IP space they're in. It might be that the IP address space that they are on in their home network is going to conflict with what your VPN solution addresses are. So this allows you to kind of preempt all those problems that you're going to have from your clients. You can also review the endpoint security with the Asset Detail Report, showing you antivirus, if it's enabled, up to date. You can see if they have things like Windows Defender or if they have other types of business class antivirus on their machine. Most customers and clients may not have any antivirus at all. Some of them might have Windows Defender, but it's not enabled, for instance. Some of them might have Windows Defender and it's enabled, but your policies say that Windows Defender isn't good enough to connect into your VPN environment. So knowing that ahead of time will help you make these kind of determinations. You can also see the Windows update status as well, like drivers, updates that are missing. You can see how critical or non-critical those kind of updates are in the Asset Detail Report. You also can do an installed application review as well. So for every machine, we list the major installed applications, removing a lot of the baseline Microsoft ones so you can get right down to like the nitty-gritty of what is kind of specifically on this machine. And you see on this box right here, you have Screen Connect, you have Viper, and you can decide if anything is something that you can deem a risk or you don't want them having on their machine, and you can ask them to remove it before approving their machine in order to be able to access the VPN. So the Asset Detail Report also has a listening port review. Now, why is this important? Because typically on these machines, if they're being used as terminals into your networks, they shouldn't be listening on too many things. For instance, maybe they'll be listening on a remote desktop, but if they have a VNC server, for instance, you might want to tell them to turn those things off. If they're using it as a web server or game server of that nature, you can basically have those things removed before entering into your network, because they pose an extra level of liability, that things that you wouldn't really know about. And these are things that antivirus or anti-spyware is not going to pick up on necessarily, because there are things that violate the policy and not necessarily are pure malware. Now, there could be malware on the machine as well in the form of some kind of Trojans. And in some cases, some Trojans and some ways of accessing remote control might be considered by you a backdoor in, but not be considered malware in the traditional sense. The Windows Patch Assurance Report is something that you can run across all of the machines that you kind of import in to quickly get an assessment of what type of patching is missing. The patching is also available in the Asset Detail Report, as I showed you, but this allows you to see it across the entire base of all your remote workers. It provides a quick summary and detailed view for each computer, as well as showing you if the last time there's a roll-up or an update that has actually gone and gotten applied. So here's how this whole thing works. So we have what we call the handhold option for your smaller clients. This is where you remote desktop in. So you have a client on there, you remote desktop in, and you're about to give them access. You download and run the Network Detective local data collector on the home workers' PCs. There's no software installed. Most scans will take a minute or a few minutes to complete. The real time that it really takes is that it does an event log analysis, and sometimes depending on how old the machine is or how much they've allocated, that could take a couple minutes to run. Upload the local scan to a secure cloud storage. A lot of you probably have some kind of way for your clients to upload files to you, be it like a Dropbox, drop it to me, or some kind of solution that you deem secure. Run the Network Detective application on your computer. So not on the client's computer, but on your computer. This is a desktop application that you can run for all of your technicians. Import the local scan file in. Generate the 3 reports I just talked about, the Asset Detail, Windows Patching Report, and Consolidated Security Report Card. Then use that to review the reports, understand what you're getting into, install or make any changes to security software, run the scan again if you need to, and then change any configuration items that might be necessary. You can also use these reports to document information about your client as well. Some of the nice features is that we do have an export into PSA solutions for each of these kind of bits of information as well, such as AutoTask, ConnectWise, and BMS. Approve the home computer once it's approved, and basically enable the user for remote access. So this is one kind of like a concentrated, controlled workflow. If your clients have already been set up for VPN access, this is just something you can do as a post-fact to make sure that you can kind of get ahead of mitigating issues that might occur from a security point of view. The self-service option. When you have a lot of clients, let's say, for instance, that you have a customer that has 200 employees. Remote control into each machine and running the data collector might not be great in all cases. It might be necessary in some cases where you might have a person that is having difficulty running the self-serve option, and you might be able to do that. But if you can get a majority of your employees to run the data collector for you and upload it to secure storage, you'll be able to do and basically mass deploy this very quickly. So what we're asking is that all employees quickly and easily run the scan on their own computer. You'll provide a link to download and run the local data collector. We'll provide instructions on where to scan the data, where the scan file and the data file will actually end up on the computer. You give instructions on how to upload it to secure storage for your users and the resulting files. Once they're done, you'll be able to take all the local scans, bring them into a workgroup assessment, run the same reports as the handhold procedure, those 3 reports, set up the computers that are remote ready, and go back to the users and computers that need work before they can safely log into the environment and get those up to the standard that you've set. What we've done to facilitate this is we've created a customer-facing download page. This is a page that is not your traditional download page that we give you access to as the MSP, but really one for the client. And you can see here that it just has on there the data collectors, what we call the computer security scan for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And they can download and run those easily themselves. You can also open a browser to this particular download page and basically run the data collector for your clients. One of the nice options we have is if you have our reporter appliance and our customized portal, you can actually create a subdomain for yourself. So instead of going to www.youritportal.com/download, you can actually go to a subdomain that you've created, like best MSP ever, .youritportal.com/download. Your logo will be embedded into there. You can see a little bit of theming removed, and you can go there and download, have your clients go there and know that they're coming to your particular site to download. Either option is fine. This option does require the reporter appliance. But the reporter appliance also plays another part, and there later on I'll talk about. The other thing that we've provided for you is our two guides, or a guide and an email template. One is a guide called Setting Up Work for Your Home Assessments. It is the Teleworker Assessment Guide. And you can see here it's step-by-step instructions on how to set up and do the telework assessment. It's several pages. It works in conjunction with our Network Detective user guide on how to use it. We'll be glad to walk you through the different steps. Our onboarding team is more than happy to basically work with you and being able to successfully implement this at your clients. The other thing we provided is a sample telework email template. Basically, this is a template for what to send out to have your employees run the telework computer security scan for the mass deploy option. And what it does is it tells you about the information that we collect, and also more importantly, information that we do not collect, because that's one of the main concerns. So we basically collect asset information, basic asset information about the operating systems. We collect security-related information. And this is to assure them that we don't collect any personal information, such as their name, their location, and we don't open or record any of their personal files. This is kind of important, we found, for a lot of home workers because they're using machines that they typically use for other purposes as well. You know, the ideal situation is always to have a kind of a corporate-owned desktop or laptop for remote access, but we understand that this is difficult times, and it's with the number of workers coming out here, it might become financially prohibitive in order to be able to do that. But then we also give you instructions inside the email template for what the employee needs to do. And part of it is left up to you. The parts in yellow are where you would insert your kind of information, such as how to upload the files to the secure cloud storage. Now, we understand that phishing is a major concern as well. So there might be other ways to kind of get this information out, maybe through Slack or Teams. We recommend actually having a preemptive kind of email or conversation with the employees saying that this is something that you want to do before you send the email out as well, to make sure that they're not vulnerable to a phishing expedition. Now, one of the things that has to do with the reporter as well is that after you've set up this and done the first initial kind of security scan, which you can do pretty quickly, we recommend going back and installing what we call the remote data collector on these individual machines. What this will do is, on whatever scheduled basis you want, to continue to do this kind of scan to bring back this information for you on a regular basis for these at-home workers. One kind of best practice might be to run this on a weekly basis for all remote workers to ensure that there's not any kind of drift. Patches and everything are kind of still being performed. This is in place of doing something like having an RMM solution for all remote workers. The reason that the Network Detective solution is kind of recommended in some cases is, one, we are what we call an all-you-can-eat model, in the sense that you can actually deploy this to all workers, even the ones that you're not doing direct monitoring for, with no extra incurred cost. The other thing about it is that it does not require a centralized server for this solution to work. So therefore, you don't have to open up firewalls. If you have a RMM solution that requires an on-premise appliance, for instance, you don't have to open up those ports to those particular devices in order to be able to get your monitoring management done. We do recommend eventually putting in some type of endpoint protection on your own and some kind of RMM protection, but those sometimes take longer to deploy. This is a faster deploy scenario. So with that, I'd like to take a second and do a quick live demo and show you the product itself. The first thing I'd like to do is actually go here and show you that on our download page, this is the download page that you would get as an MSP. And this download page is used for showing you basically how you can run the data collector, where you get the network detective application from, and where you can actually get in here the telework assessment guide that I pointed to. Now, the other page that you're going to actually get access to is over here, /download. This is the branded download page that you can run the assessment on. And you can click on download to download the computer security scan. This is what your client would do on their machine. They would run the scan right here. It launch up, runs computer scans, initializing the scans. We took out a lot of branding, so it's very white labeled in here. So you run the scan and you're able to actually, watch this thing collecting login events, etc. And they're able to basically, once it's done, it will open up the folder for the particular window that it's on. Now, once this is done, yes, I want to exit this right now. You will go into the network detective application. This is the network detective application that you run on your computer. You would create a site for it, like this is the work from home business. Then I'm going to go to this site and I'm going to start an other type of assessment, which is a work from home type of assessment. And then press finish. And this is the network detective application. Then I'm going to import the scan. So think about it. All of your users or yourself have moved to secure cloud storage. You've downloaded the scans back to your computer. Now I'm going to click on this right here, and I'm going to import these 3 files. So hang on a second while I type this in. Press OK. Press next. And we're doing all this live for you. So you can see here that we have 2 computers over here for work from home people. I'm going to merge those in right now and press finish. And it's that simple. Then I go over to the reports ready part. And over here, I pick the reports that I talk about. And we have a whole lot of reports beyond just the reports that are available for this at-home work. In fact, actually, I just want to show you right here. If you have the entire RapidFire tool suite, there's a lot of reporting capabilities that you have everywhere. But let's focus on these particular reports right now. So I'm going to have the Consolidated Security Report Card run, the Asset Detail Report, and the Windows Patch Assurance Report. And then I'm going to press Create Reports. It's going to say I don't have who this is prepared for. So I'm going to say right here, this is for work from home business. And it's my IT company. I can put in my own branding. Notice I can also put in my own logo, my theme for it, cover image and company. Then I'll go here and press OK. It generates the reports. You'll see here generating the Windows Patch Assurance Report, the Asset Detail Report, and in quick time, it goes through there. The security report card is the last report being generated. It opens up a folder for me that has these reports in it. And I'm just going to show you real quick. This is the Consolidated Security Report Card. And you see right here, it's formed for WFH, about the report card. There's a rubric as well. But you can see here the 2 computers that I imported in. You'll see that one is for our corporate computer here. You can see here this computer has a score of a B. And the reason for that is it has a significant number of failed logins that I might want to check to see what the problem is. But still, everything else is pretty much in line. Whereas this computer right here, although it's A everywhere else, it doesn't have a screen lockout with a timeout on there, and also a password protected one. So therefore, it's a little bit less secure. But I give it a C. It hasn't quite got to F level yet. So in that case, you can make determinations as to what you want to remediate and what you want to accept as risk into your environment. So one of the questions we have right here is, what is the difference between the inspector, this is one of our customers, and the reporter? The inspector is a carry-around appliance that does internal vulnerability scanning. It's meant to be run inside of each client's network, and it's installed in each network. The reporter is something that you install only one time at your headquarters. So you put a piece of software inside of your own environment that's used to generate reports, also used to automate the running and scanning of reports on different machines. So what happens is the reporter basically becomes the device that gathers all of these kind of remote scans together and then can generate the reports on an ongoing basis. So in the scenarios I kind of showed you was One was where you kind of remote in and actually do the scans, upload it, and run it yourself. With the reporter and the remote data collector, it can actually execute the scans, automatically upload it to our secured storage, download it from the secured storage, generate the reports, and even have those emailed out to your tech for review immediately. So it's actually it's creating an automation solution is the purpose of Reporter. Inspector is for doing those kind of internal vulnerability scans. If you're interested in Inspector, that is a $99 kind of product as well. So here's another question that came up is basically that just flew in here. Can you use the security analyzer as a pen test tool? And does it kind of satisfy the pen test requirements? And the answer is no. It does not do the pen test requirement kind of things for those kind of devices. What you can get, if you were to get our security assessment, which you are going to get with this kind of package, and the reporter, you could actually have it run what we have called the external vulnerability scan. And I didn't have that part of this kind of at-home assessment, but that is something that you could add there if the person has a static IP address. If they're dynamic, it's a little more difficult, but if you wanted to do a one-time assessment of their external vulnerabilities, you could actually run the external vulnerability scan from inside the Network Detective application. It will produce an entire vulnerability scan assessment. It will have the CVSS scores. And then, for instance, if the person has to be PCI compliant or not, you could go in there and remediate anything that had a score of 7 or above. Or you could set your own threshold saying basically, hey, anyone that has a 4 or above, I'd like to take a look at their home network to kind of help them lock down their firewalls themselves too. But to answer your question, the analysis that I showed you with the desktop itself is not doing pen testing itself. And we don't do manual kind of pen testing ourselves, but we can do the vulnerability scanning aspect of it. One thing about our vulnerability scanner is that we turn on only safe scans. So safe scans means that we don't try to actually initiate the actions. It is a lot more accurate and a lot better to actually do kind of a true penetration testing where you have a chance of breaking in or causing harm to the computer on the other side. So that's where kind of the line is drawn versus the vulnerability scanning versus the pen testing. I hope that answered your question there as well. The other kind of question we have here, which is, okay, go ahead, Mark, please.
Sure, a couple of easy ones. Several people have asked for a copy of your slide deck, Win, and that is posted on the special landing page. The URL is on the screen, so go to rapidfiretools.com/2004BO3PYC. I've also put that into the chat box, so you'll be able to grab the slides from our special download page. Also, some other folks asked, I guess they'd come in late, whether this was being recorded, and in fact it is being recorded, and we will be posting the recording to that same special landing page. So when you go to the landing page, later today, just scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see where the recording is posted. Over to you, Win.
Oh, sure. And I've got a little question over here as well, which is there's some people that actually want us to talk about some of the other modules that we have, and especially for compliance because of how compliance rolls into this kind of at-home work and all this kind of scenario. The best product that we have for that is our compliance manager. And I would recommend actually talking to your salesperson and having a specific demo on compliance manager if you can as well. We think that this is a phenomenal quick opportunity, but the long-term opportunity that's going to happen is the world is changing and we need solutions to basically ensure compliance in this kind of distributed workforce in the world. Because even after this entire crisis kind of blows over, hopefully soon, the world is going to be changed, and you're going to have a lot more people that are set up for at-home work, a lot more people wanting to do it, a lot more companies that are going to have these contingencies in place, and we want you as an MSP to thrive in this environment. Mark, do you have anything else that's kind of general, or do you want to leave everything else to your sales engineering team?
No, I don't have anything else. I do see that there's a couple of very specific questions, and we'll get one of our pre-sales engineers in touch with you guys. So Win, I want to thank you so much. I know you're extremely busy. You and your team have put together a great offering here and a terrific webinar content. I hope this is going to help a lot of MSPs out. And I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule to join us today. If you have questions, comments, feedback, let us know. This is a terrific deal on the network and security modules and Reporter as well. I think now is a great time to take advantage of that. So thank you all for attending. Look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.